Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Jeff Dover. With me is John Barbin. Let's talk football.
Yeah, we're talking the NCAA Week 8 preview, best games to watch. Let's just jump right in.
Yeah, a lot to choose from this week. How was it like putting your list together?
It's kind of half obvious, half not obvious. Let's say it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is going to be some get some eyes on some teams that I haven't normally seen. Like, because there's so many games in college every week, it's hard to get eyes on all of them or all the important ones. And so this week I've got some teams that I'm looking forward to seeing because I haven't seen them too much this season so far.
Okay, so maybe your list will be more creative than mine. Right out of the gates, everyone has to watch Georgia, Texas. This is just obvious.
Game of the week.
It's clearly not a game you see that often. It's going to look amazing. This Georgia on the road at Texas. Texas has looked like the most dominant team so far, like consistently dominant on both sides of the ball.
It's a pretty big win against Oklahoma. Like their defense not giving up anything was a pretty big statement.
Yeah. Now, maybe some of what looked like their best games on paper turned out to be not that good. Oklahoma's not great, and Michigan isn't as powerful as everyone thought they would be. But overall, Texas is putting teams away. So they just look overwhelming. On the other hand, Georgia's had some close calls. They could have a couple losses already, like Kentucky. That was a close call. The Bama game, they almost came all the way back. They just put themselves in too much of a hole. But the last week's game wasn't. I mean, yes, they put them away, but you kind of expect them to just crush Mississippi State worse than they did. Like it's a 10-point win. It obviously wasn't that close, but still, it feels like they should be a bit more dominant. I guess I'm just expecting Georgia to look like the win against Clemson every week. So maybe my expectations are just too high for them. Well, but they're going to prove it all this week.
Yeah. So Georgia, they're 5-1. We're getting to the point where you don't want another loss if you can help it, because the 2-loss team, as everyone's been talking about all season, like can probably make it in the playoffs, but you don't want to test the committee because it looks like there could be a couple of good 2-loss teams, potentially going in there. So, really important game for Georgia. Texas's defense is really good. They only have given up. Hold on, let me get this right here. They've only given up 38 points overall, like in 6 games, which is pretty impressive. So it's going to be, Carson Beck, Georgia, like important game for them, important game for both teams. But, at Texas at night is going to be quite the environment, and, an important game for both teams. So it's you can make the argument it's more important for Georgia. Because you don't want to start getting too many losses. So just a really good talent on the field on both sides, and really want to see if Georgia could be able to, the offense can hang in there against Texas's defense.
Yeah, I saw somebody talk about there's a different way to think through one loss isn't catastrophic, or at least as bad as it used to feel now that there's more options to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if Georgia drops one more, that everything else is situation critical. Texas has a breathing room here. If they drop this game, regardless how it looks, but if it's close, everyone will just call it a good loss against a great team.
Yeah. Georgia still has Ole Miss and Tennessee up on the schedule.
Well,
so
Tennessee doesn't look like it has too much bite in it anymore.
I mean, they're not nothing games.
Yeah. Ole Miss is a real game for them to win.
Yeah. So no, those are, whereas hold on, I'm just pulling up now. Versus
either way, this game's going to feel enormous. It is enormous, and it'll feel every bit as big as it really is.
Yeah, Texas, after this, they've got Vandy, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, which is sort of more manageable. But
hang on. Did you say Vandy?
More manageable, right?
More manageable, Vandy, but everyone should be on alert.
That's the upset of the week right there, like the trap game, because Texas plays Georgia, and then it's at Vandy next week. So you
can so easily picture them showing up to that game thinking we got this,
and then there's a bye after that. So it's really I mean, for sure
they should win, but I don't know if you can even say that about Vandy anymore.
I know. So, but anyway, then they finish at Texas A&M, which is a tough one. But it's probably more important for Georgia. Texas has a bit more, leeway, but still going to be fantastic game.
This should be the toughest one on their whole schedule.
Yeah.
All right. Next
All
one.
right. So next on my, well, again, for me, this is going to be getting eyes on some games that, hadn't, on some teams that I haven't maybe had a chance to watch, and you're wearing one of them right now.
Yep.
So that's going to be the Oklahoma State at BYU on the Friday night game. Late night, I'll be able to record it, so you don't have to worry about that. But I haven't really seen BYU. That statistically, they're quite even. They don't have any one QB or running back that's really running away with it. Not like Boise with Gentry, but they're a really good team. They're just outside of the top 10, arguably one of the best team in the Big 12. So seeing Oklahoma State play at Provo, that's going to be one of the must-watch games for me this week.
All right. Yeah, I'll be watching that one. Alabama at Tennessee. You said this last week. Somebody's got to win this game. And when was the last time you could honestly say that about this game?
I know.
Now I get it. Alabama's had the better of Tennessee for a while now, and a few years ago, the Tennessee upset of Alabama, where they tossed the goalposts into the river, was just the best thing on TV. That was so much fun to watch that game. Now I think this is going to be a slog of errors, of ugly offense, of stupid game management. I'm kind of expecting. Well, let me say it this way: the last couple of weeks give me no reason to expect anything other than clumsy game management and just both teams getting in their own way.
Excuse me.
They just haven't shown that they can put a proper, clean game together in the last couple of weeks. So I don't know. Well, we'll see. Someone's got to win this game. Somebody's got to get their act together. And I just can't believe we're saying that about these two teams.
Yeah, I know. It's excuse me.
Yep.
Both teams 5-1. So like we were just talking before, someone's going to have 2 losses after this, right? So someone's going to be looking at possibly the playoff outside looking in this type of scenario. And really what I wanted from this game is some teams of old. I want the Tennessee offense to come back like it used to be, where it was much watched just with Nico playing well. And I wanted Bama to be a good team again, like just overall, and not barely hanging in, against South Carolina and losing to Vandy. So, I'm hoping that we see a return to form with this game and so that it's played well. But you're right. Otherwise, right now it feels like someone's got to win it. So hopefully, but at Tennessee's not an easy place. Bama, if Bama struggled, if Bama plays like they did against Vandy and South Carolina, they're going to lose this game.
Yep, exactly. But if Tennessee plays the way they did against Florida, are they going to lose? Like it's
yes. So
again, this is
true.
like someone's got to win, and if they both put those, anyways, someone's got to win. Moving on.
All right, next one up for me is Nebraska at Indiana. Indiana has been sneaky good, right? So
Indiana's on the wall. Can you see them? They're back there.
No,
they're back there. Got them up there somewhere.
No, they're really good. They're 3-0 in conference. They're 6-0 overall. All everyone's been talking about is Oregon or Penn State after this last week, but all Indiana's done is win all the games ahead of their schedule. So big conference game against Nebraska coming up. Nebraska's 5-1, 2-1 in conference. So, and I just haven't had a lot of eyes on Indiana. So I'm excited.
Their offense is that good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them. Hopefully they're going to replace Tennessee for me in terms of the must-watch offense coming forward. So,
well, they have been. You just needed to get eyes on them. Anyone who hasn't been watching Indiana, you got to watch. They're crushing people. Their offense is that dynamic. It's probably the most fun offense to watch right now when you just see it when it's rolling. And a couple of games I watched, they tried their hardest to give the game away, but they have the offense just so overwhelmingly gets on a roll when it's rolling. And it's the sort of thing where it can have a bad quarter and then just put up 25 points or 24 points in the very next quarter. So it's all there. I guess you could say they haven't played too many really strong defenses. This is going to be a for real test, but it is that much fun to watch. And that quarterback now has to be on Heisman watch for sure. So that was the next one on my list anyway. So I'll move on to, I got a different one for you. South Carolina at Oklahoma.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I want to see, first of all, Oklahoma, they're just not that good. And South Carolina should have beat LSU, should have beat Alabama. Are they going to hang on and put in another good performance and beat Oklahoma? because I would argue those other teams are more talented than Oklahoma, or at least they're just better overall teams. South Carolina can totally beat Oklahoma. I don't care that it's in Oklahoma. They've got the horses, and the way they're playing, they could beat them. Oklahoma's got to get their act together. And to me, this is the wrong team to be trying to get their act together against. The only thing is, since it's in Oklahoma and Norman, they're going to have a better shot at it. If this was in South Carolina, I would think South Carolina would just totally handle them. The way the South Carolina is playing, and Oklahoma's just not looking that good.
No, it's Oklahoma's overall 4-2. So they could be 4-3 after this if they lose it. So, and South Carolina is 3-3. So it's you're right. But to speak to your point too, is Oklahoma's only favored. It's at Oklahoma, but they're only favored by 3, I think. So, and the interesting thing about this line too is that the over under is low. It's 40.5, which is like a service academy type over under thing, which is interesting. So I would have thought both teams' offense haven't been terrible, so I don't know why it's that low.
Well, Oklahoma's that rookie's just not looking that good.
Yeah, but they've sort of, the bloom is off the rose a bit on the rookie, and people are starting to pick stuff up against him. So
I just don't think I don't think he's going to have too much success against South Carolina's defense. That defense is for real.
It's legit.
So I think it's going to be pretty awful for him this game too. It's just that South Carolina is limited on offense as well. But yeah, I don't think Oklahoma's going to move the ball much on them at all. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Next one up for me. This one, if you told me in the beginning of the season that I'd be watching it this week, I would have said you were a liar. But it's East Carolina at Army because it's on ESPN2 this week at noon, high noon. Army favored by 15. When was the last time you heard that?
They're putting up points.
Army ranked 23rd in the country, undefeated. So it's I'm looking for what's the deal with Army. So that's what I'm looking for. I want to see this game and see what they look like, and it's I'm excited because this is the first Army against not another service academy game that I can't remember the last time I saw that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, now they're in a conference against each other, and I heard an interesting commentary that they could end up in the conference championship game the week before the Army Navy game.
Man, that's right. Yeah,
weird.
I know. So an Army already 5-0 in conference, which is saying something.
And I was looking at who they have coming up next, both teams, and then I realized they both play Notre Dame. And then so then I was just looking at Notre Dame's schedule, and get this: of Notre Dame's remaining schedule, there's only 2 ranked teams, and it's Army and Navy.
Yes,
but also on that schedule is USC and Florida State.
Wow.
If someone was going to ask you mid-season, Notre Dame has Army, Navy, FSU, USC, and I don't know who else is in there, and say which of those 2 are the ranked teams left. No one's saying Army and Navy are the 2 ranked games that are left.
That's a really good point. That's an excellent schedule point.
So that might actually turn inadvertently. We'll just talk about Notre Dame for a sec. That might actually turn into a bit of it's going to be a challenge playing both of those teams playing as good as they're playing. And I don't think USC is playing bad.
No.
They've lost some close games to some awesome teams. Now FSU, that's just a non-factor. But now all of a sudden Notre Dame's got 2 teams on their schedule that are going to probably put up a better fight than they're expecting.
Well, and their Navy plays Notre Dame, I think, every year, and there's a lot of times they get hammered by Notre Dame, and they're in a position to be competitive, and they know it. So the heart and desire is never a problem with Army or Navy, playing not only each other, but just playing in general, because they're really disciplined programs. So I'd be nervous if I'm Notre Dame, because that's not the way I want to finish my schedule against a USC that's got nothing to lose, and then 2 ranked undefeated service academies. Because and another thing with that too is that defensively, they're like, you have to prepare so differently for them than for other teams. Like you don't have to. I remember this happened in Florida one time when they were talking about scheduling, like they just needed some other team to put on the schedule. And it was going to be like Georgia Southern or something, which was an option team at the time. And I'll never forget one of the coordinators running down the hallway saying, like, you got to get this team off the schedule because it messes up all the preparation. Like it's man and zone, like for every other team, and blitzes and stuff like that. But you got to prepare completely different for that type of offense. So
it was the perpetual problem with Paul Johnson's Georgia Tech.
Yes,
That
exactly.
one power conference had an option team, and everyone's like, "Oh God, we don't have." Here we go. This week we're preparing for them. Now, at least
Yeah.
the teams that played them every year knew a little bit about how to like that extra week of
Yeah,
the
but
different
still,
week.
like that you don't want Notre Dame is not good enough so that the best team they're playing is an option team, like and twice, like with
I
that type of
really
style,
want
like
Nebraska to go back to option.
oh, that would have been good. But
That
yeah,
was
but
the
it
greatest thing ever. Having
yeah.
a major power conference running power
Mhm.
team running option, and they were so dominant. It actually it just kind of killed me on the inside when they switched
Yeah.
and Callahan was there running a pro style offense, and I thought, well, that's the end of the mystique of Nebraska. The whole
Yeah.
point of this team was that it was an impossible option offense to
Yeah.
stop, and they were the only, besides the service academies and maybe Georgia Tech, they were the one that could win the national championship with an option offense. And I think it just took one of the unique things of college away, is a
Mhm.
true option team that could win the national championship. So
Mhm.
I kind of always want it back. Anyways, that's just me.
Yeah.
So
What's your next one?
Michigan at Illinois.
Yeah.
Illinois played a wild game last week, and that offense is legit. I thought the defense was a little bit better than that. They got real leaky in that game and let a team they should have put away, let them right back in the game. I guess at least from an Illinois standpoint, Michigan doesn't exactly have an explosive offense, but they have the horses to dictate the game and turn it into a bit of a rock fight. So can Illinois make this a Illinois higher scoring game? I can't believe I'm saying that. In Illinois. How about this? I'm talking about the Michigan Illinois game that Michigan's got to drag Illinois down into the rock fight, not the other way around.
Mhm.
So I guess that's always been Michigan's style lately, but Illinois usually would be hanging right in there as like tough defense, but now it's like,
Mhm.
can Illinois just outscore them? So I don't know.
Well, and this is sort of sneaky important for both teams too. I mean, all the games are important, but it's the Michigan, having coming off the loss last week against Washington. You've got Michigan State and Oregon coming up. Like this is not one of the ones that they wanted to lose on their schedule, and it's at Illinois, and they absolutely could lose this game. Like they need to have a good game to win this one. So this is sneaky important for them and for what their season's going to look like.
Yeah, if Altmaier can find some space to throw, I think they might be able to really dictate the pace of this game. This to me is the sort of game where if Michigan can dictate the pace, they can probably win. But
Mhm.
if Illinois is going to find room, that this could get away on Michigan, I think.
Mhm.
All right, you got anything else?
No, well, yeah, I'll throw one more log on the fire, which was going to be the LSU at Arkansas, just because again, it's more of the betting line thing. I think LSU is really good. At Arkansas has been competitive, but not terrific. But it's LSU favored by 2.5 for some reason. I thought that was a really short line. So it's at Arkansas, it's a tough place to play. It's at 7 at night and stuff. But I says LSU is a significantly better team, so I thought that line would have been different there.
Yeah, I guess maybe they thought the Arkansas performance against Tennessee really carried some weight for that line. I can't see how else that line gets that close.
No.
But
And LSU's coming off a really good win against Ole Miss,
Yeah.
so I don't, that's surprising.
Well, I mean, if put it this way, if Arkansas can shut down Tennessee as badly as they did, then maybe this is a legit test for LSU. And I guess one of these trap letdown things after that big win against Ole Miss, so they got to show up here. All right, that's all I got. You got anything else?
Yeah, no. The other one I'm going to get some eyes on is Kansas State at West Virginia. At West Virginia's, I love that environment. Kansas State coming off their win, and want to keep it going. Don't want to have another letdown. I don't want to have a letdown game with this, so looking forward to seeing them play well. I like when they're playing well. So
Dover's throwing a bunch of curveballs here for his his must-watch games, and obviously there'll be something that happens this weekend that none of us are anticipating.
Yeah.
So and on that note, next week, stick around or tune back in for our reaction to the weekend. And if you're still with us and you like what we got here, we'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel, maybe share it with somebody if you like it. We'd really, really appreciate it.